So this is what she said. Not only am I going to share with you her mother-in-law's dramatic, like totally unexpected response, I'm going to walk you through what I believe was going on with the mother-in-law, like in her head and in her body, not to excuse what she did, but to help you understand what you're dealing with. Because a lot of the stories we get, like things that, these boundary scenarios that you need help with, like from our community, it is from people who I believe are dealing with emotionally immature people who are not mature enough to see beyond themselves to actually hear it as a boundary. They're taking your boundary as a personal attack and responding so, like in a way that you would imagine somebody would respond if they were getting attacked by you. So again, what happened was she just simply said, please don't give our toddler ice cream. We think it's giving her a tummy ache. And she could tell just based on like everything happening physically with her mother-in-law that that's not what she heard, because her mother-in-law reacted extremely like unhinged. She's like, oh, are you saying you don't trust me with your own daughter? I guess I will never feed her another thing ever going forward. Said some other things and stormed out. It didn't end there. Then the mother-in-law went like immediately to the other children in the family, their spouses, extended family, and told her version of the story or what happened. And her event, like the way that she remembered or recalled the events, was wildly distorted from reality. What she said was, she screamed at me. She said that she doesn't trust me, like I'm a terrible grandma, and that I can never feed, the granddaughter anything ever again. Like, I just feel like the worst grandma in the world. Like, I just, and gives them the sob story. That's what happened. Now, before I tell you what they did, like the family members that heard the story, I want you to imagine your mom calling you and saying, do you know what your sister-in-law did to me? And just imagine her telling you this story. What would you do? I know for me, if my mom called me and told me that, I would want to defend, I would want to protect, I would want to take care of her. And that's what they did. So they are then deployed. They go after the husband. Lots of messages, lots of phone calls like, dude, what is going on? Like, how could your wife do this to our mom? Like, fix this. Like, she's struggling. So now they're here and they're saying, we are just like whiplash. We don't know what's going on. We're very confused and we don't know what we're dealing with and how do we proceed? Okay, so before I tell you what I would do if I was in your shoes, I'm going to walk you through what I believe is likely going on with your mother-in-law and what it's like in your brain. I actually drew this out to make it easier. Okay, so I call this the brain on fire, and I'm just trying to help you understand what it's like for them. I'm not trying to excuse their behavior in any capacity, I promise. But what I want you to imagine, when you set a boundary with someone who is emotionally stunted, it's like you're striking a match. So you strike the match and they don't hear, please don't give ice cream to the toddler, it's giving her a tummy ache. What this mother-in-law heard was, you are a terrible, absolutely garbage, the worst grandma to ever walk this earth, and I don't trust you with my child. Now that what she hears then goes to the next step. That obviously makes her feel rejected, abandoned, not good enough, which puts her body in a state of emergency. So now there's sirens going off. Her brain is flooding with feelings of fear, shame, abandonment. She is no longer able to hear the words coming out of your mouth. She is just like, oh my gosh, I have to get away from this discomfort. This is awful. This is awful. This is awful. My brain is on fire. And the only way I can try to relate it to us that we are emotionally mature and we just don't even understand how this could work is imagine you are in a room that is engulfed in flames. So completely lit on fire, absolutely engulfed in flames. And someone is asking you to pause, like don't escape, even though the smoke is filling your lungs, you're coughing, it's burning your eyes, you're hot. It's like getting close to you. They ask you to pause and meditate. You couldn't. Like your brain is going to be so focused on the discomfort, you want to get out. That leads us to step 3, life threat activated. So fight, flight, or freeze. Here's where you're going to get their emotional, like impulsive reactions coming at you that just feel like, holy crap, where is this coming from? This is where they're going to say, okay, I guess I will never feed her anything ever again. Or, okay, I guess I'm the worst mother in the world. I'm the worst grandma in the world. Like you get these emotional outbursts, and really their fight, flight, or freeze brain is activated, which means they're either fighting with you, they're going to like say something, spit something at you. They are either fleeing, and that means that they just storm off, or they freeze, they shut down and sulk for the rest of the visit. That is their primal brain, that's their emotional brain. Their amygdala is activated. They don't know if it's like a true, real threat or something like a reasonable limit. That leads us to step 4, defense mode activated. Now, this defense system is top notch, like one of the best in the world ever invented. And it happens so fast, they don't even realize this is happening. But here is where you're going to get, you attacked me. Like they truly feel attacked by you. So they are going to blame shift. They are going to twist the story, come up with a completely different narrative of what happened. She screamed at me, said I was a terrible grandma, told me to get out and never feed her child anything again. So they twist the story where you're the villain, they're the victim. And then they use martyrdom. They tell other people, I can't believe she's doing this to me after everything I've done for her. I've welcomed her into our family since day 1. That leads us to the final step, rallying others to regain control. Now put yourself in the mother-in-law's shoes at this point. Her brain has been lit on fire. Fight, flight, or freeze is activated. She's got her defense system going, but all of that causes cortisol to be released, adrenaline to be pumping through her body. It is like you are under attack, a state of emergency. She has a very fragile sense of self. She cannot self-soothe. So immediately after leaving that daughter-in-law's house, she is on the phone. She's on the phone calling people to say, tell me I'm okay, because she can't self-soothe. And so she rallies her minions, other children, extended family. If those bridges are burned, they use social media, but they gather people around them to just calm me down, tell me I'm okay, validate me. So once that's done, now they have support. Like, yes, you were in the right. I can't believe that happened, because the story is so unbelievably out there. Of course they're going to believe you, poor thing. So they got the support. But what also happens is now that she has these minions like, oh, this is terrible, they're all just like, what the heck? Now they want to do something because this is so unfair to their mother. This mother-in-law doesn't even have to say anything like, go get her, go get him. They don't have to say it. It's like the way they tell the story, they just run off and they attack. So that's what happened. They went, to the husband. They tried to squeeze him back to conform and fall back in line where the mother-in-law has full control, because this is how they function best. This is something that I really need you to understand. They have limitations. They have the emotional maturity level of a toddler. This is not done consciously. This is all subconscious, just happening to them, which then happens to you, okay? So this is how I would respond to this. When they can't come to me and accuse me of doing something like that, I would just say, that's not what happened. I just simply asked to not feed the toddler ice cream. I would clear it up, but I wouldn't get swept in or pulled into the drama. And then the next time I see my mother-in-law, because I know she has the emotional maturity as a toddler, just like I wouldn't try to rehash everything and make sure my toddler gives me a genuine apology for doing this, I would react the same way to my mother-in-law. I would just say, I would go on like normal, and if she brought it up or acted weird, I would just say, I think I said that wrong, but I was really just trying to say maybe we should do a cookie instead of ice cream, just because I think that we're thinking she's lactose intolerant, and we just kind of want to work to tease it out and test it out. I know that's controversial because you want the mother-in-law to apologize, but you won't get an apology from someone who lacks emotional maturity and they are literally stunted, like arrested development.